One thing I can say about WWE is that they did a really good job building up Roman Reigns, this heel character, this bloodline leader, tribal chief. They made this man OP as fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? They made him just unstoppable. And I mean, to me, it's like little. I didn't know how to feel about it. You know what I mean? Going to like a lot of stuff they was doing over the last couple years, because I was just like, man, like nobody else seems credible. Everybody else kind of seems like less, and he seems like on this different kind of level. So it just made, you know what I mean, like it hard to like even get into a lot of the matches or whatever. But somehow, man, especially with this the bloodline, Sami Zayn, all that stuff, man, like they just like they did a really good job with this character, man. So anyways, we're about to check out this video, and it's about Jey Uso. Maybe we can get a little bit more of the pieces in history that I didn't know about around this storyline, because I definitely have not seen everything. But yeah, let's jump into this. Check it out.
Last night, we got one of the most emotionally driven storylines and story arcs
That segment was
that
so
we've had in
freaking awesome.
WWE in probably the
Bro.
last decade. The story between Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, which consists of Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and now Solo Sikoa, has been an ongoing story development for the last, I would say, 6 to 8 months.
Make sure you
And
check
it's
out my reaction
something
to
that
that,
fans
man.
were just eagerly
I loved
anticipating,
it.
the point to where Sami Zayn would either turn on Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline, or Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline would completely turn on Sami Zayn because of his potential
Honestly,
allegiance
I thought
with former teammate and rival in Kevin Owens. Back in
they would turn on him. Honestly, I did. That's why I loved it so much. I think it's because I thought they was gonna it was gonna be the other way around. You know what I mean? Like, but they did it. The way they did it just played out so beautifully, man. It just had so much emotion. It was just I loved it, man, and just all the storyline that goes back to where this whole started, all the stuff started, and everything, man. Jey Uso relationship with him, Jimmy's relationship with him, and Roman's relationship with him. You know what I mean? Like all their relationships, man. And I love this storyline, bro. I love it. I'm definitely gonna like, yeah. I don't know. This is gotta keep watching this.
Ring of Honor, Kevin Steen and El Generico had some of the greatest matches in the history of independent wrestling. In the WWE and in their time in NXT, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which were their names inside World Wrestling Entertainment, put
From
on
the
some
jump,
of the
bro.
best
As soon as
matches
they got
and most
NXT,
emotionally
Kevin Owens
driven
got
matches
NXT.
that we've seen in a very long time. And even on the main roster, such as at Payback 2016, we got to see their rivalry continue. And every time they stepped into the ring, it had one thing that most
This is one of the
storylines
best
in
rivalries of
WWE
all
and in the
time,
modern
bro.
era have lacked, and that was emotion. But when we look at the Bloodline, Roman Reigns turning heel, the indoctrination of the Usos alongside him.
Yeah, hold on, one second. Like the one thing about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, bro, is that these guys could like go from like the best of friends, loving each other, supporting each other, like, you know, to just completely chaotic, just destruction, bro. Like one of them snapped like in their own way, man. They both have snapped before, man, and that's what makes their, like, you know, relationship, their friendship, their rivalry, all that, like, so interesting, man. It's just like I don't even know, like it's just such a good overarching just turn of events and things that they've been through, and it's just I love it. I love it. I love it.
Newly included and newly inducted member into the Bloodline in Solo Sikoa, the storyline and Roman Reigns' work over the past 3 years has been nothing short of incredible. The man has worked so incredibly hard as a heel inside the WWE, and it makes us wonder why he wasn't turned heel earlier than at Payback in 2020.
Makes me wonder
But I guess
what
we're going
happened if
off on a
John
little
Cena
bit of a
was turned
tangent, so let's
heel.
wrap it back around to what we came here to talk about. At the Royal Rumble 2023, Roman Reigns defended his championship for another record-setting title defense against Kevin Owens. Now, we talked about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's relationship and former alliance or allegiance inside the professional wrestling business. But after the trial of Sami Zayn on Monday Night Raw, the one person came to the defense of Zayn that nobody thought ever would, and that was Jey Uso. Throughout the
I just
entirety
didn't
of
get to see
Zayn's
that.
inclusion in the bloodline, the one person who never believed his true loyalty and allegiance to the tribal chief and the family was Jay. He always felt as if he was only in the bloodline to get information and get
I want to
intel
see
to
that. Oh
eventually
my
turn
goodness, I
on
can't
them
believe I missed that.
and align himself back with Kevin Owens, who has been the target of the bloodline since the start of the storyline. Even going as far as to have Sami Zayn low blow Kevin Owens inside War Games and cost their team the victory and give the bloodline the ability to reign supreme. So after Roman Reigns' successful title defense at the Royal Rumble, an Attitude Era-esque beatdown would ensue as every member of the bloodline beat the living pulp out of Kevin Owens, to the point where he was literally defenseless. And even at that point, as Sami Zayn looked on in concern and terror, the attack didn't stop. A bunch of chair shots, unanswered super kicks to the face from the Usos, a Samoan spike from Solo Sikoa, and an inclusion of a hip attack in the corner with the head of Kevin Owens stuck in between a chair wouldn't end the attack by any means.
They beat
Sami
the
Zayn
piss out of him,
was concerned for a former friend, but he was also in the position where he had to show that he was truly aligned with the bloodline and was truly a member of the family, not wrestling's only royal family. So as Kevin Owens was handcuffed to the ropes in a sacrificial lamb style of position, ready for any attack that came from any member of the bloodline, Roman Reigns would grab the chair and look to smash Kevin Owens in the head one more time.
Done so well.
However, he would pass the chair off to Sami Zayn and give him the opportunity to show that he was truly a member of the bloodline and that Kevin Owens meant nothing compared to his new family of Reigns, the Usos, and Sikoa, and the inclusion of the greatest mouthpiece, or one of the greatest mouthpieces in professional wrestling, in Paul E. Heyman. As Zayn would get control of the chair, it looked as if he was going to smash his former friend in the head as a rite of passage, so to speak. However, as Roman Reigns would turn his back, Sami Zayn would do what everybody thought he wanted to do this entire time. By smashing Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair and knocking down the tribal chief a few pegs, not only in terms of physical condition, but in terms of his ginormous ego as well. Jimmy would look on with killer instinct along with Solo Sikoa, but Jay would look on in horror and scream at Sami as to why he would do that after he even came to the defense of Sami during his trial on Monday Night Raw. He looked as if he didn't know what to do, and Jay was in an emotional and mental state that any human in his position would be in, given the circumstances. Screaming in disappointment and rage at Zayn as to why he did what he did and why he had to do that after Jay came to his defenses on Monday Night Raw. The attack would then ensue on Sami Zayn from Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa. So it wasn't only Kevin who was laid out, but now the former member of the family in Sami Zayn was feeling the wrath as well. But the one man who didn't want to be included in the beatdown of Sami Zayn, or the beatdown of initiation and the Brotherhood style beatdown, I guess you could say, was Jey Uso. And people sat there and wondered why. Was it the fact that Jay had felt sympathy after coming to his defenses on Monday Night Raw? Was it the fact that it was just too much pressure physically and emotionally that he just didn't want to partake in it anymore, whether it was Sami or Kevin Owens who was getting beat down? Or was it something completely different? I feel like it's option C.
I would say,
and I'll tell you why.
Hold on. My take is that he invested in Sami. You know, he believed in him, and now he's just like disappointed.
Go back prior to the formation of the Bloodline, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns had a series of matches that was some of the best work in ring that the WWE had seen throughout the entire pandemic era in 2020. Whether it was their first match at Clash of the Champions or their second match at Hell in a Cell, it was some of the best in-ring work in WWE and some of the best and most well put together pro wrestling matches that we had seen in the business in a long time. Reigns would come out as the victor in both matches, continuing his championship reign, but it was much, much more than that, because after the second victory where Roman defended his championship against Jay inside the Hell in a Cell, we saw just how emotionally and mentally manipulative the tribal chief could be. Reigns would force Jay to say "I quit," but not due to the damage he was inflicting on him. It was due to the damage he was inflicting on his brother and Jimmy Uso, putting him in the guillotine and choking him unconscious until Jay had no choice but to either continue to let Roman beat down on Jimmy or to sacrifice his manhood and integrity to save a brother. And that's exactly what he did, by saying I quit just to save Jimmy in the process. By losing this match to Roman and giving him another successful title defense, it would make Jay now a servant of the tribal chief, where he had to do exactly what he said and when he said it, for as long as Roman Reigns felt the need to entertain it. It wouldn't be long before Jimmy would join Jay, and that would be the first actual formation of the Bloodline faction inside the WWE, with Paul E. Heyman, Jimmy, and Jey Uso in the head of the table.
Hold on, let me say this too, man. I hated that Roman fought Brock at WrestleMania, like when it happened. But like seeing the overall like build up of this guy, like I understand it because nobody else is like really on the level, and they can't really, you know what I mean? They don't do a good job at building people up. So you know what I mean. Brock was the biggest, you know what I mean, the biggest person they had available, you know what I mean, to fight him. So
and Roman Reigns running havoc and wrecking havoc all over WWE, whether it was Friday Night SmackDown or Monday Night Raw. This formation of the Bloodline would eventually cause Jay to be so emotionally and mentally manipulated that he would really go on to cheer on Roman and become a true brother of his cousin inside the WWE. But is it really what Jay wanted, or was he just too emotionally damaged at this point to realize that he was being used the entire time? Now, Jimmy is still alongside Roman Reigns, so we can't really include him in this story, but that's fine because the video's about Jay. Most people think that this is going to lead to Sami Zayn being the one to defeat the Tribal Chief and win the championship off of him, whether it's at Elimination Chamber or the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania. But after Cody Rhodes won the 2023 Royal Rumble, I feel like we're going down a little bit of a different direction, and this is going to lead to not the championship coronation of Zayn, but the championship coronation of Jey Uso. Sami Zayn was in the same position that Jay was in the pandemic and COVID era, being used by Reigns, talked down to, and being constantly reminded that he had to show his allegiance to the family. Is that not what we're getting right now with Sami Zayn, just in a little bit different of an aspect? It's almost exactly the same. And I feel like that's why Jay was so emotionally damaged and so emotional after the Royal Rumble 2023 beatdown of Sami and Kevin Owens, because he felt as if Sami was now in the same position that Jay had been in, and maybe the emotionally manipulative tactics that Reigns used on him for the entire formation of this faction in the Bloodline were finally starting to wear off, and Jay was finally seeing the true colors of his tribal chief and cousin in Roman Reigns. They always say that they have the Uso penitentiary. Well, Jay was locked in his own penitentiary, and the warden was Roman Reigns. And that's something that people need to realize, and that's why I feel like this storyline is going to lead to the main event Jey Uso that we wanted to happen in 2020 and the beginning of 2021. Sami Zayn, yes, could face Roman Reigns and could be the one to defeat him for the title. He could completely break away from the Bloodline, and Sami and Kevin Owens could defeat the Usos for the tag team titles. But the tag team championships aren't what this story's about, at least in my opinion. And I could completely be off because this is professional wrestling and this is the WWE. I guess what I'm trying to say is that at the end of this entire Sami Zayn, Bloodline, Kevin Owens storyline, I feel like we might get a crowning moment for Sami, but the real crowning moment is going to be Jey Uso becoming his own person and really living up to be main event Jey Uso. And I feel like he should be the one
to defeat fucking awesome.
Roman Reigns for one of his titles. It might be Cody Rhodes who gets the first pinfall victory on Roman after winning the Royal Rumble and faces him at WrestleMania. But I feel like the titles are going to be broken up, and Cody is going to compete for the vacant WWE title against an opponent the likes of maybe Seth Rollins. And if that's the case, then they could do Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the championship.
I never even thought of that. I thought I'm just
to see who's really the true resemblance of the family and the Anoa'i family in the WWE after Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And you could even have Dwayne maybe be a special guest referee, because it feels as if it doesn't have to be The Rock versus Roman like everybody said. Because like this entire video is about, this storyline that's going on right now is partially about Sami Zayn. But in the full picture, it's about Jey Uso becoming exactly who he needs to be, becoming his own man again, and breaking away from the prison and the mental abuse and the mental manipulation that Roman Reigns has put on him since the beginning of this faction came to the light.
All right, man. He presents some very interesting ideas and stuff. I think it would be really awesome if that some of the stuff he kind of presented here could play out. I mean, of course, it would be a really awesome moment for any of them, man. Like if it was Jay or if it was Sami, that would be a really awesome moment. But yeah, I definitely think Jay. Yeah, I think that would be really awesome. Like that would be a really great moment. Cody, like you know what I mean. Like yeah, they could do that, man. Like just vacate one of the belts and have another challenger. That would be actually preferred. I would prefer that than Roman fighting two different opponents. You know what I mean? Or a triple threat or whatever. Like I would prefer them just have his own different thing. And yeah, man, Seth Rollins would be a good opponent. I think that'd be funny, like to do that, to run that back. Cody returns against Seth 1 year, then the next year they got to fight for the belt, and they had like a nice rivalry before Cody left and all that. So I think that'd be a nice bookend to that. Anyways, yeah, I like this, man. I like all of this, and I can't wait to see what they do with everything as far as the storyline goes and stuff like that. Like, I'm actually like interested again. You know what I mean? I'm interested in it. I don't know if I'm gonna like do videos about them, but like I definitely want to see how it plays out, though. I do want to see how the story plays out, man. So maybe I might check out the highlights more often. Start there, and then we'll go from this. Try to watch segments or something. I don't know, but either way, I'm interested in the story. So